Hello, listeners, and welcome to Lead Up for Women, Speak Up to Lead Up. I am your host, Colleen Biggs, and it is with a heavy heart that we come to you this week with everything that is going on in the nation. As I woke up this morning, I learned that there has been more protests, more looting. I'm not opposed of protesting. I really feel for us to get our voices out there. That's what we stand for at Lead Up for Women, is getting women's voices out there on our platforms. I think protesting and standing for change and standing for things to be better for our future is definitely something that I stand for, that Lead Up for Women stands for. I'm not a fan of police brutality. I do not support that. I never have. I've always been very vocal about that. I believe everyone deserves a fair trial. I believe that the police are there to protect and serve. And I think the definition of those words need to be revisited sometimes on protecting and serving and helping those of us that need the assistance. And I do believe that others are currently taking the situation that we have out of context and utilizing their opportunity for looting and burning. And I had a female contact me this morning and apologize for missing a call yesterday because her and her partner own a CBD clinic, and they were burning the building across the street from her and looting. And so she had to go and protect her business. And this isn't the freedom in America that we are looking for, where we have to go protect our physical addresses from being burnt down or windows broken or broken into. That message isn't sharing or standing for anything other than destruction and hurt. And so I want to acknowledge the quiet protesting that happens, and I do stand and I am against racism and people being suppressed. And if this is what the earthquake needs to happen to build the mountains for change, I know that change is happening. And so I just wanted to share the message that we are continuing to give women the opportunity to share their voices. And my heart goes out to all of you that have been hurt or injured during this time. And I plead that there just needs to be change, that the more we can love each other and stand side by side, every race, every religion, every ethnicity, and just love each other for who we are, this country can be a beautiful, beautiful place to live in. It's just going to require everyone changing and standing in what we believe in. And so we are bringing our show to you live on Wednesday, June 3rd this week to respectfully acknowledge Blackout Tuesday. And so I do want to introduce a guest that I have with me today that I met a few months ago. And she is a powerhouse in supporting women, supporting women's voices, supporting strategy in your businesses. And, America's run on entrepreneurs and the freedoms that we have here, and the way entrepreneurs recognize and exercise those freedoms is by starting a business so that they can change the world, so that they can bring products and services to you, so that you have the opportunity to live your best life. And that is why entrepreneurs like Kelly exist in the world, exercising those freedoms to start a business, to employ people, and to help businesses get their products and services to others. So, Kelly, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I want to read a little bit about you just very quickly. Kelly O'Neill, she's a multi-award winning entrepreneur, profit strategist, brand marketing expert for the next generation. of innovative companies and thought leaders. I do believe you're a thought leader. And so we're going to be talking a little bit more about that. But she's on a mission to disrupt the status quo and rewrite the rules. And I feel that in the world today, that is the message that people are sending, which is we want to disrupt the status quo and we want to rewrite the rules. And it's so different in how you're rewriting rules and how you're disrupting the status quo compared to the way that it's being done in America. And I know that's not an even comparison, but let's talk about disrupting the status quo and rewriting, what that might look like for entrepreneurs in the future, because this pandemic and this quarantine has rewritten a lot of rules already in how we do business moving forward. So, Kelly, talk to me a little bit about what the last 4 months have been like for you.
So for me personally, this has been a great time of growth in my company. Because of the subject that I teach, because I teach business strategy, I teach people how to market to affluent clientele. And as someone who is a strategist, I look at market trends and I look at them well in advance of when they become a reality. So even before COVID, we knew that we were going to slide into a recession. The analysts have been predicting this. I talked about this in my January. I always do like a New Year's State of the Union. And I talked about this in January of 2019, that they believed that, there was a very big portion of CFOs that believed we were going to be in a recession by the end of 2019. Mm-hmm. And 85% of CFOs believed we would be in a recession by 2020. Now, we obviously couldn't predict that this is how we were going to get into it, or this is, or the time span, but we knew that. So I had been preparing my clients ahead of time and helping them make those strategic shifts in their business and helping them recession-proof their businesses. So not only is my business, I actually, in the midst of this pandemic in April, I had my highest month that I've ever had in business, and my clients are doing very, very well as well because we prepared.
I want to go back and talk about what you just said about having your highest month through this, because it's the same for Lead Up for Women. We had our best month right in the middle of the pandemic. And let's talk about why we think that is. Why is it that people are attracted to you, are wanting to work with your business? What is it that is attracting a business owner in the middle of what we're calling a recession to invest in themselves and their companies? Why?
So I'm going to answer that question in two ways. I'm going to answer that first, I'm going to answer it from what my clients will tell you, because my clients are very vocal about why they work with me, and they're very public about it. They post on social media all the time. And then I'll also talk about the strategic reason why the businesses are attracted to me right now. So speaking back to the idea of being an innovator and really rewriting the rules, I often say the things that people say behind closed doors, but they're not willing to say publicly. Not everyone may agree with me, and not everyone has the same belief system as I do, but I'm very vocal, and I'm just me. I share my voice unabashedly with the world. I'm very clear about my value system. I'm very clear what I believe in. I'm very clear about where I stand on issues, whether they be in things like what's going on right now in the world, and or even in the business development industry. I'm very, very vocal about my beliefs. And I have a higher standard of how I believe we should be interacting in the world. And I'm vocal about it. And I don't make apologies. And again, I just take a stand. And so because of that, my clients are like, you're refreshing. These are the comments I hear over and over again. You're refreshing. You're authentic. What you see is what you get. You're no BS. You state it like you mean it, and you're a truth teller. And so my clients who are sick of the BS find that very refreshing. So they like that. They like that I'm not sugarcoating things, or that I'm not, I'm not doing stuff that a lot of other people in business that are, my perceived competition are doing. So that's what they will tell you. And then very specifically strategy wise, I will tell you that, and now you will see a demonstration of this, that I think that a lot of the stuff that's being shared in the world right now, specifically to entrepreneurs, is like, I think it's really opportunistic. And I think it's really, there's a lot of BS. Like, I'll give you an example. I saw someone who said, you need to learn how to use message bots to recession proof your business. It's like, no, you don't. Sit down, stop talking to people. Like, you need to stop right now. You're giving people bad advice. There are not tactics that are going to recession proof your business. Mm-hmm. There's one thing that is going to recession proof your business, and that is marketing to people who can afford your services despite what's going on in the economy, and who are looking at this for a growth opportunity. That is a strategic switch, not a tactical switch. And I happen to be the world's go-to expert in marketing to affluent clients. So that's what's going on there in the strategy perspective.
Oh, I love that. And thank you so much for sharing that, Kelly. I think it's important that you shared not only how you feel about how your growth has become what it is through this, but what your customers are saying. It's super important because your customers are the ones that you're serving, right? Yeah. They're the ones that are out there, and they need that refreshing time for you to be able to share that on social media. So give me an example of some of the clients lately. Of course, I know that you have client confidentiality, but give me an example, or let's do this. Let's roll it back. I want to go back and let our listeners learn, now that they know you're just straight up, tell it like it is. I don't, sugarcoat or BS anything. Let's talk about where Kelly O'Neill came from. What did what has your story been? What has your journey been like that led you to owning and starting your own company? Where did that come from? Tell our listeners a little bit about you.
Sure. So I was raised in an affluent environment. And my dad was an entrepreneur. He built his own CPA firm. He made some very smart decisions in real estate in the Silicon Valley. And as a result of that, I've always grown up in a very affluent surrounding. And I don't make any bones about that, because that's what it is, right? And there's some deep blessings that came with that when it came to business. Now, before you pull out the world's smallest violin in the world for me, let me also just tell you that my father, who built up his business by bootstrapping, was also very specific that his children were not going to have a silver spoon in their mouth. And he, on more than one occasion, told me that I was a guest in his lifestyle, and that if I wanted to create this, I was going to have to go out there and hustle and grind my way to the top. Like, so there was very clear. But what happened for me is that I grew up immersed in the mindset of possibility. It really, my dad tells the story about one time me saying, why don't I guess I was asking how someone was going to get to our Tahoe house. And I said, well, aren't they just going to take their plane? And he said, not everyone has planes. And I was like, oh, I thought everyone had like a private plane, just like they have they have cars. I really didn't know, because that's what I was used to. I was around CEOs of tech corporations and their children. I was just immersed in that lifestyle. And so I always believed that everything was possible. That is the mindset view in which I just thought making money is easy. And I learned to believe that, like, making money is easy. And when you do good business in the world and you serve people, you're just gonna make a lot of money, and that's just what happens. And so that was my baseline. So again, as I got older, I will tell you, I had aside from the fact that I was living in this lifestyle, I had no silver spoon. Like, I remember one time wanting this prom dress, and my parents were like, well, you better work some extra shifts. at the yogurt store because I started babysitting when I was 12 because I wanted to make money. And I started working at a clothing store in our town when I was 15. Fast forward, I get into college, and I was also responsible to contribute to my college experience. I was not one of those people that I had 2 jobs minimum throughout all of college. One was I was nannying, and then I started working as an intern in a branding agency. And I did that because my dad had a contact that was a friend of his, and I knew that I wanted to get into like advertising or PR or that sort of thing. And so they put me into this branding agency. So I started working in branding when I was 19 years old, and I loved it. I loved the creative aspect of it. I loved the business aspect of it. And I also realized at this time, right, working 2 jobs, but still like not, because I did not have any extra money. So, sometimes I would be, do I eat today, or do I put money in the gas, in the gas tank? And my parents' philosophy was kind of like, well, you better figure it out. Like, how are you going to solve that? Right. So I realized about halfway through college, I was like, oh yeah, I like the lifestyle I grew up in a lot better than, living in this dingy apartment where I can hear gunshots with, 6 other girls where we can't afford anything. I'm like, that is not my jam. And so I just made a decision really early on that I was going to create a life where I was living from a place of choice, no matter what that was. And that's a big thing for me. That is really my personal mission in this world with myself, and not only my clients, is I don't think there's one right way. I don't think all businesses need to look the same. I don't think everyone's life choices need to look the same. I think that everyone, I would, my hope and dream for everyone is that they get really clear about what it is that they really want, and they build a business that supports that, so that they can live from a place of choice. And so that's really how I got on this. I worked in corporate America for many years. I was very successful because I had gotten in so young. I was always ahead of the game. I was a director of PR in a tech company by the time I was in my 20s, in my mid to late 20s. And I just had a really successful corporate career until I realized that my consultants were getting paid more than me. And I was like, oh, I'm starting my own company. And that's what I did. So in 2001, I left corporate America. And at that time I was, I'm trying to do math really quick. I was still very young, and I left corporate America and I started my own PR consulting firm. And that began it. So that's what I did. So from 2001 until 2003, I was consulting for a variety of high-tech companies. And then in 2003, I decided, I really want to help entrepreneurs. And so I started teaching entrepreneurs.
I think that's an amazing story. And I'll tell you why. Because I've heard it time and time and time again. I don't have a rags to riches story, so I don't have a story. And I know that we are motivated and inspired by those that started with nothing and then reach the success and the abundance that they're looking for. But what I love about your story, and I have a friend in the UK that shared this similar to me. She said, I don't have a rags to riches story. I have a riches to riches story. What does anyone want to hear about that? And I said, because you made a choice, because you're able to share with people that I was raised in an abundant lifestyle. And I understand that it's the mindset of, because you've now seen people that have chosen not to have abundance. And I say choice, because it truly is a choice. I reinforce this all the time. These conversations go on in my own home with my own children. And the conversation is, no, you've chosen that life. It's not that life has happened to you. Your life is happening for you. What are you going to do with it? How are you going to choose to, and your newest clients that have been brought on to work with you made the choice.
Yep.
That I need to do something different, right? What do we say about Insanity, it's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
1000%.
Yeah. So if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you're going to get the same result. So you have to pivot and change, and it doesn't need to take a pandemic or a quarantine or a virus or an outbreak of what we've had in the past week to make those changes. Those changes can be made simply by changing your mindset and knowing. But I feel what has happened, and Kelly, you can back me up on this or not, because I certainly don't, we don't need to agree on this. My husband and I agree to disagree a lot. What caused people to start thinking of, oh my gosh, I need to do something different in my business, or I've got to pivot, or what I'm doing isn't working anymore, and this is the time that it's either going to fail or I'm going to succeed. And so they made a change and decided, okay, I've got to do something different. And then they hired you, or they joined Lead Up for Women. I feel like it was the pressure of what was going on outside that really kind of pushed people to force the change. Do you feel that happened at all?
Yeah, I do. I think that and also again, because I don't sugarcoat anything, I was not out there pulling any punches. And the reason for that is, I don't believe in fear-mongering business stuff, but I totally believe in reality checks. And I know, because I made it through the last recession. I thrived through the last recession. And I know, and none of us know what this is, because this is a whole new thing, but I know what it took to get through the last recession. And I know that people are going to be losing their businesses right, left, and center. I know they are. And it's statistically proven. And so I went out there and I basically said, look, you either need to step up or be prepared to be taken out. And I was not shy about that. Mm-hmm. And I shared that through the mountaintops because I am here. My purpose is to help these entrepreneurs succeed. And I don't think sugarcoating it and being like, well, don't be afraid and, just keep a positive outlook. Like, that is not going to help you get through this. I mean, it'll help, but that's not it. Right. They've got to make a strategic shift, and they've got to they've got to do business differently. And if they are not willing to make that pivot, if they are not willing to step up, if they are not willing to innovate and change the rules in their own business, then they're not going to have a business in 9 months.
Mm-hmm. No matter what the economy looks like. Yeah. No matter
I don't want to see that happen. We have too many brilliant, amazing, phenomenal entrepreneurs out there that provide exceptional services that are not going to survive through this. Mm-hmm. And I think it's super sad. And so I'm not willing, even though it's uncomfortable for me to go out and kind of be, I don't want to say negative, but just be straight. It's like, it's not the most comfortable thing to say, like, you're going to lose your business if you don't make a change, but it's what needs to be said. Otherwise that could happen.
I think your voice and your message is needed more today than what you realize. And maybe you do realize it, but let's go back to what I was talking about at the beginning of the show. And people are attempting in every way possible to stand up and use their voices and not sugarcoat it. And the truth is, changes will have to happen. There will need to be changes to happen for the shift and the pivot to happen, for us to be able to live in a safe environment in a world where we still have our freedoms of speech and our freedoms of religion and our freedoms to start our own businesses and stand for what we believe in. There's a right way to do that, though. And what I loved what you said was, I'm helping people step up or be prepared to be taken out. What you're not advising them on is going after the other businesses that could take them out. That's the difference in this. You're advising, right? That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to
Wait, are other people doing
that? Physically, they are right now. So physically in the world, what's happening is, for people to get their message across, they're physically taking other people out. instead of what I love what you're saying in business, and to compare this is we need to step up and be responsible for us. If there's something wrong in the world, look in the mirror and make the change with yourself first. Michael Jackson said it very clearly. You got to make the change for yourself. You got to look in the mirror. And who is the one that's looking back at you in the mirror? So in business, you have to step up as the leader of your business to make the changes. Personally or in the world, if you want changes, you step up. It's not about others as much as it is about you standing in your truth. Like you said, I don't apologize. I'm unapologetic with how I help my clients stand out in the world for them to get noticed and how they're able to attract that.
And I do want to be careful that we're not comparing what's going on with the rioting to business, because it's two totally separate things in my opinion.
Totally.
But yeah, absolutely. So this is what I tell my clients. No one's going to build your business for you. There's no white horse. You can hire the best coach. I am not a coach, by the way. I don't call myself a coach. I am a business strategist. But you can hire, whoever you want to hire. No one's going to do it for you. It's your responsibility to create the business that you desire, and for you to really be clear about what that is, and for you to align and get the support and help that you need to build that.
Mm-hmm. And talk a little bit, Kelly, let's talk a little bit about how, if someone were to be interested in wanting to work with you, to understand more about your services, let's talk a little bit about how you serve your clients and give them a menu so any of our listeners listening can understand how you could assist them as a business owner.
So I really do two things. On the front end of my business, I help people pivot to get affluent clients. Right at the beginning, that is what I do. I am the go-to expert in marketing to affluent clients. I've got a program that works all the time called Marketing to Millionaires. Mm-hmm. And so from a very basic level, like I've got programs very specifically that, like I've got a program called the Marketing to Millionaires Business Accelerator. And our whole point in there is to help you get to six figures as quickly as possible, marketing to affluent clients, because it's very different. It is I every day, all day long, I'm like, don't do that. It's not going to resonate with your affluent clients. Don't do that. That's a mass marketing trick that is going to totally make your affluent clients run for the hills. So I have that program. And then I also have programs where I'm helping people utilizing that strategy to scale their businesses and get their businesses to work for them. So I teach them these leadership skills that you and I are talking about. I'm not a leadership teacher, let me just be clear. But I teach them how to be responsible for themselves, to think like a CEO in their company, mm-hmm. and to develop high performance teams that build their business for them. Right. So, and how do you manage that all the way down in your company to build what it is that you desire? Right. So that's like the big deal. So I've got a couple different programs that I do that in, and then I also privately consult with people. So people hire me, even corporations or bigger businesses, that they hire me either on a year-long basis, or they hire me for a day to do strategic consulting work for them to help them really come in and laser focus on what it is that they're after and develop the map to get there the fastest. Because I am not a believer, again, I really fly in the face of a lot of what's said in the marketplace. I don't believe you need to be doing all the things. I don't believe in hustling and grinding. I believe that strategy is the new hustle. And when you start acting strategically, you're going to be able to build your business much faster and much more efficiently than doing all the crap that's not actually yielding you the results in the first place. So, that's really where I come from. And then I also own a branding agency, because that is my background. So I help do branding and positioning for clients that are wanting to come out as thought leaders in their industry.
That's excellent. Thank you for sharing that information. I love what you said. Strategy is the new hustle. Mm-hmm. And there's been this stigma connected with being an entrepreneur that you will probably have heard before, right? You traded a 40-hour work week.
Oh, I hate that quote. I hate that. I don't use the word hate. I shouldn't use the word hate. I strongly despise that quote and reject it.
I'm
Sorry,
with you.
I'll let you say the quote, but I cannot stand it. I make fun of that quote all the time.
I don't think I need to finish it. I think everyone's heard it before and they know exactly what we're saying. But the stigma tied to that is you own your own business. You've now given up your life. You've given up your time. You've given up everything that you love to just grind and grind and hustle and hustle. And, I hear it constantly from people. And,
It's revered.
yeah, I use the
It's
word
revered in our industry.
Yeah, correct.
I think that's a terrible business model.
Terrible.
And that's not the one I do. I mean, I keep when I'm not in a launch, like if I'm not in the middle of a launch something, I'm like 30 hours a week.
Yeah.
I play tennis. I've got an amazing team. I try to keep my team's hours down.
And tell us why that works.
Because I don't, well, first of all, you don't need to do all the things. You need to do the right things to create the right results. Mm-hmm. So number one, it's a waste of money. It's a waste of time and it's a waste of energy. And I actually don't have a value and reward system, at least in my own company and in what I teach, in that the harder you work, the better you are. It's the more efficient that you are and the results that you can create. That's what's valued in our company. It's like, are we creating the results? Are we hitting the KPIs in the most efficient way? That's what's rewarded in my company. So quite frankly, if someone is knocking the KPIs out of the ballpark in, 20 hours a week, have at it. Right on. I'm going to give you a bonus. Let's teach everyone how to do that. That's so smart. Mm-hmm. So I'm really about teaching people that concept.
Yeah. It's about strategy. It really is.
It's all about strategy.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what's being taught. See, this is where, again, I have a really large challenge in general. I am not speaking about any specific person. In general, the way that business development is being taught to entrepreneurs is broken. It is very broken. It is based on the hustle and grind mentality. It is tactically focused, and it is oftentimes very self-serving of the person who's selling whatever. So I see, as an example, my clients come to me and they're like, this is very standard, is they come to me and they say, I don't know what's going on. I can't make any money. I wrote the book. I'm doing the podcast. I'm doing all the Facebook lives. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm doing this. And I'm like, well, where's the strategy? Like, what's the client path? What's the ultimate outcome? What are you trying to fill? What are you, like, they teach marketing. They don't teach even business. They teach marketing. And then I'm like, but your message is off. So it doesn't matter if anything that you do, like, who's your ideal client? And then they're like, oh no, I serve everybody. Okay. You need to back up the bus immediately. Like, this is, they're step skipping. And I've created a process called the Profitology process, where I walk people through what I call critical path. And that critical path is how you build a business in the correct order to be effective and efficient. And it starts with you having clarity about what it is that you want, what you want your business to look like. Because, I don't know what kind of business you run, Colleen, but like, my team is pretty much maxed out. I don't want any more team members than I currently have. I don't want a big team. I don't want to have some massive global corporation. I want to work from home. Even if I got an office space for my team, I would still work from home. I want to have personalized service with my clients. I want to know them. I want to know about their businesses. I want to know their name. Like, I don't need to have an event where I'm speaking to 1,000 people. Unless I'm a guest. But those aren't the kind of events I have. I have events where I have 100 people and I get to intermix with all of their business. I just think people have to get clear on what it is they want. And then you create a strategy to fulfill on that. And then once you have the strategy, then you can choose the tactical items that are going to help you get there the fastest. One of my favorite quotes, I'm going to say this for you guys, I have chills right now even saying it, is from Sun Tzu. And he says, strategy without tactics is the longest route to victory. But tactics without strategy is the quickest, tactics without strategy is the noise before the defeat. Mm-hmm. And right now, we've got a lot of noise out there and a lot of people doing all the things, and they have not done the foundational work and they have not done the strategy work necessary to create the result that they actually want.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm flipping the script on that, which is why I get a lot of flack from people in the industry, because they don't want this message out there because it definitely impacts their sales.
I think it's the message that every I know it's the message that every entrepreneur needs to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reason why you get into business is for you to be able to bring a product or service to the masses, for you to make an impact, for you to make change, and for you to be able to live the life that you desire.
Yes.
The reason why you don't want to be on the rat wheel, so to speak, of corporate is because you're in this box and
Right.
you go by the rules of what the rules are set by who you work for. By being your own entrepreneur, you set those rules. So I think the message you're clearly sending today with the few tips that you just gave that people can put into action immediately is, if you want success in your business, if you want success in your life and you want to live by your own rules, you're the one that has to make the change and set the standard.
Yes.
It's not going to be done by anyone
And you need
else.
to educate yourself about the support you need, because I will say every single business owner, I hang out with loads of millionaires, and most of them are entrepreneurs. And I will tell you, I've never once ever heard anyone say, oh, I totally got here by myself. Like I bootstrapped my way up and surfed the internet for free, and that's how I got where I was going. No, that's not how it happens. So, but the challenge becomes, like, you have to educate yourself on what it is that you really need in your business. And that's part of the reason I started teaching the Profitology process, is so that people could make educated decisions. You know, there's people that specialize in clarity. There's people that specialize in strategy. There's people that specialize in branding, sales, automation. There's people that specialize in all the things, but you've got to be doing the right order. So if you don't have your message clear and you don't have cash, like, put the book down, stop writing it. Now's not the time. You need to use cash strategies in your business. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times what happens is people are throwing around these words. Now, remember, I come from a business background. I wasn't like a school teacher that decided to become a business coach, right? Not that there's anything wrong with school teachers, but I'm just saying, I've been doing business since I was 19 years old. Mm-hmm. And I've learned from the best, and I've watched how they've grown these massive corporations. And I've had personal meetings with, like, Scott Cook from Intuit when I worked at Intuit. They created Quicken. And I've done these big business things, and I think like a business person. And I want people, there's another saying I say often, which is, if you treat your business like a business, it's going to pay you like a business. But if you treat your business like a hobby, it's going to cost you like a hobby. And part of this is you being educated in what it is that you really need for where you are in business right now to get yourself to the next step. And that way you can make better buying decisions in your business about what it is that you're looking to, that's going to help you for where you are right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, that comes back to, it's your responsibility.
Yeah, I think we've gotten that message very clear. Do the right things to create the right results. It's what needs to be done. And Kelly, if someone wanted to reach out to you, one of our listeners, and get in contact with you, what is the best way for them to understand if working with you is the right decision for them? Or you have several opportunities through your company on how they can tap in to get the results that they're looking for.
Perfect. All right. Well, the best, if you're interested in working with me at any level in any one of my programs, the best thing to do is just go to my website, and there's a button there that says Work with Kelly, and you can apply there, and you to talk, and then we will help you figure out the best place for you. The other thing that you can do is, I do have a really thriving group on Facebook called the Marketing to Millionaire Success Circle. Mm-hmm. I would invite you to come and join. You'll get a good sense of my style there to make sure that it's the right fit for you. And You know, if you're looking to market to affluent clients, like it's really the only spot for you. So I hope you like it.
No, that's great. And then Kelly,
Yeah.
your website address?
Is kellyoneil.com.
And it's KELLYONEIL.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Great. I
Yes.
just wanted to make sure that was very clear. We will also have this video on Facebook this week. And so I will put some notes in there and some links in the comment section, and we'll tag you on that as well, Kelly, of how they can get in contact with you quickly through your social media channels.
Yes, and follow me on social. I'm all over the place. I'm on most of the major channels except for Twitter. I don't get Twitter.
She's on all the things.
Well, I'm personally not. My team is on all the things.
But she's not, because she only works 30 hours a week.
That's right.
So if you, Kelly, just one last piece of advice, if you could give a tip today to, what is your greatest tip that you would give someone listening that really feels stuck, like they just don't know what else to do in their business? They think they've tried all the things. And so what is one tip that you would give them that they could make a change in what's happening with them today?
I want you to so clarity is the most empowering thing in the world. And I really would advise you to take a step back and ask yourself these 3 questions. What is the life that I really want? What is the business I need to design that's going to give me that life? And how much is it going to cost for me to get it? Mm-hmm. And when you get those 3 pieces of information, from there you can look at what's going on in your world, and you're going to have a lot more clarity for you to be able to assess then what's the next right step. What support do I need? Where am I missing out? What's not working for me? And you guys, if you're doing stuff that's not working for you, don't keep doing it for like a year, right? Really pay attention. Don't do stuff to do stuff. Strategically execute, and then look at, like, is this getting me the result that do I need to tweak it? Do I need to tweak it some more? Do I need to get some outside input? Really watch what you're doing so that you're not just running through a checklist of to-do stuff.
Mm-hmm. I love that advice. Thank you, Kelly. Strategy is the new hustle.
It is the new hustle.
That's great. I just want to remind all of you that next week we are going to have guests on June 10th on our show at 10 a.m. And we have Dr. Carolyn Candido. She's a functional medicine physician in Hawaii. So she's going to be on. Many of our community has already tapped into Dr. Carolyn Candido. She had several guests on her show that many of you participated in. So we get a one-on-one with her next week. And we also have Laura Marcos. She's out of Sedona, Arizona. And she's a facilitator of emotional intelligence and intuitive development programs. I've been through some of her physical retreats and programs, and it was just the most amazing mental break for me to really tap into our intuitive decisions that we make. And so I want you to join me next week when they are on our show. And again, if you haven't already, leadupforwomen.com and Lead Up for Women on social media. We're everywhere. We have several webinars this month for you to learn how hope is not a strategy. I love that. I just hope everything gets better. No, we're going to learn from Rosanna Berardi on June 9th. That's going to be next Tuesday. She's going to teach us how to turn your business into a money-making machine post-COVID. And she's an attorney, a very affluent individual out of New York, and she's going to be talking to us about some additional strategies on how to do that next week. So I think it's just a great tie-in to what we've discussed today. So Kelly, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
It's been wonderful. And I just want to share the note to all of you. You are the only you that's ever been. You are the only you that will ever be. So how you navigate your future's up to you. You're the one that has to make those decisions. So be you and be strong, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.